indeed, it does appear to be true. The Onion has purchased Infowars as part of the bankruptcy proceedings, the dissolution of assets of Infowars. Some of Alex Jones' friends and allies tried to buy it, but then the families of the actual plaintiffs, apparently they threw in with the Onion to basically they decided to take a share of what they were going to get and allocate it to the purchase. So yeah, what seems to be an actual Onion headline is actually real. It's not satirical. They actually bought it. Let's see. Got lots of news to talk about. Why Trump is trying to outrage Washington with his controversial cabinet picks. I don't think it's about that. I disagree with Fetterman's calling Gaetz' appointment, for example, as potential AG and an epic troll. While it definitely bothers the Uniparty, and I don't expect that Gaetz necessarily is actually going to get the votes in the end. There might be some parlaying backstage to get that through. We're not exactly sure. I think it goes a bit beyond that. And we've got a little-known law from 1798 that Trump has optioned potentially using for deportation plans. The left is spinning it all out of proportion, as usual, so we'll get to that as well. Cop29 delegates facing challenges, including climate denier Trump. Oh, my God. Yeah, it looks like we're going to be out of the Paris Climate Accords, which is good. And, you know, for at least 4 years, we'll have sane leadership, it seems, at the EPA with Lee Zeldin. So we've lurched off of the fear-mongering a little bit. Don Lemon's gone. He deleted his X account. I think so did Joy Reid, actually, the other day. But I don't really care about what Joy Reid has to say, because at least Don Lemon is self-deprecatingly funny. We've got the response, of course, from Brian Krasenstein here. It's a funny one. What to know about Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, or Doge? Of course, CBS. They're not exactly going to give you the real skinny about it, but we'll read a little bit of that too. And then this one's confusing. House resolution has been put forward, actually, by Dan Goldman. He's a New York Democrat, to affirm the fact that people can only have 2 terms as president. But it's already in the Constitution, so it's completely redundant. It's not entirely clear the impetus behind it. Last beacon, hey Sticks, ping us. Also, what I said was no terroristic threat. Our society's been fundamentally, for the last 23 years, been broken. If they were to put Donald Trump in forever box, it would be a bad idea, mainly because Donald Trump is a symbol at this particular point, and if anything bad were to happen to that symbol, it would finally be like the fuse that this country needs to fix what is. Multiple comments. What is? Ping us. I don't know if there's a third one coming. Where is it? Where is it? I don't know. Mike the Walk. Clank, motherfuckers. When I first saw you shave, my initial thought was your attorney told her it would look better in court. It looks good on you, though. It's about refreshing the beard so that the goatee comes in even and does not need to be trimmed for a few months. BW, I was going to ask you about if Trump can still get his agenda through with the Senate BS, but answered it. Here's some money anyway. Thank you. Yeah, he can. It depends on the subtopic, I think. Furious George, Dems chose the blue hairs over the blue collars. Not a bad analogy. Let's get, there's last weekend. Fundamentally broken within America. His mainly left-wing and rank-wing electoral griping that seems to be the focal point for the past 23 years, I should say 24. Why Trump is trying to outrage Washington with his controversial cabinet picks. I don't really think that he is. I mean, I'm sure he takes some joy in it because it's bothering people, all the right people, the unipartyists that don't like Trump, as well as people on the left, and Dem partisans in the more general sense. Gaetz may or may not get through the Senate confirmation process. It's looking iffy. Most of the others, I think they get through fairly easily. Like they're not gonna try to stonewall Rubio, for example. Gabbard, I think, gets in. Zeldin, that'll be a good pick. I think that the Republicans want to give him a kickback anyway for his efforts in the Northeast, especially in New York. But I think that he's serious about it. I think that he seriously wants Gaetz as Attorney General. I would note that he resigned not even a blue moon ago, specifically because the ethics panel is going to release their report on him. they're obviously going to disagree with the actual legal proceedings against Gaetz, which exonerated him of wrongdoing. They didn't even have enough evidence to arraign him. But they're going to find, in the opposite capacity. And the Republican unipartyists are looking for a reason to kick Gaetz out. So he said, look, they're going to remove me. I quit, effectively. So I think that it is possible that Trump is serious about wanting him in that position. Whether or not he has the actual votes to do it remains to be seen. Either way, he has trolled the Uniparty, so, there's nothing wrong with that. Something good comes of it, regardless of what happens. Musically assured destruction. I am seeing lots of shitlibs on social media doom posting about Trump's tariffs making things more expensive. Would you do a separate video about it? Yeah, because technically speaking, they would. Temporarily, yes, prices on certain things would rise, but wages would tend to tack along with them, because it would be bolstering, especially U.S. shipping and manufacturing. Albin Jensen, I like sugar and I like tea, but I don't like pingas. No siree. Pilgrim Media, when will Mitch and Nancy go to the great beyond? I don't know. Every time you think, well, shit, Nancy Pelosi can't even get up from crouching and Mitch McConnell looks like he's on death's doorstep, they still keep going. And Sumerian, hey, Sticks, I'm not a salami smuggler, but if I was, I'd say you're hot without the beard. I prefer having the goatee. A lot of people seem to think I look younger, too. Last weekend, our society's already on edge for the want to say 11 because of Barack Obama's second victory. Oh, I think you mean 11 years, yeah. Yeah, society is definitely on edge. Let's look at this particular law. President-elect Donald Trump has promised to invoke a little-known 226-year-old law when he returns to power. John Adams was president when Congress first approved the measure. The U.S. consisted of just 16 states, and a war with France seemed to be looming. This is how far we had to go back, because in those days, we didn't play games, Trump said at a November 4th rally. I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on U.S. soil. Now, the thing is, when you look at what Trump is suggesting, he's suggesting going after criminal networks. So you're not talking about just a random illegal with the point of this particular act, because it wouldn't be applicable. The text of the Alien Enemies Act says it can be invoked whenever a war is declared between the U.S. and any foreign nation or government. That's not applicable. Or invasion or predatory incursion is perpetrated, attempted, or threatened against the territory of the United States by any foreign nation or government, and the president makes public proclamation of the event. The latter two would be the ones that are applicable. You would have to first construe that a state actor was involved with those dealings, which should not be hard to do in certain occasions. For instance, the emptying of the jails in certain countries could be seen as a hostile act by a foreign entity. Governments explicitly encouraging people to illegally immigrate, that could certainly be part of it. Again, limited mainly to the construction of criminal networks, so fentanyl trafficking, trafficking people, fraud, and stuff like that. It would be applicable. But of course, then if he does that, you would have a situation where Congress would very likely step in and try to stop it from happening. You'd expect that certain uniparty Republicans would likely go along with them, by the way. Last beacon. And we have already crossed the threshold of civil society. We need to let things heal, and that includes some is controlled burning. So that's some societal and cultural growth that can take its place. Yeah. So as far as that goes, it would be legal. It's just whether it is deemed legal by the courts in the specific invocation. That would be a matter for SCOTUS potentially. Federal courts might weigh in. It'd be really difficult to get it done, but it is legally possible. So we'll see if that happens. By the way, I would actually support that, because you're going after legit criminal networks and sometimes with state backing. Count Pasta Creep, what a beautiful time to be a clanker. Trump is in office. Charles Hoskinson is in charge of crypto. What a beautiful day. Each day feels like new. The Dashing Rogue, you look like John Lennon. Imagine that. Some people say Joey Ramone. Metalhead Madman, what are the chances that they put Kamala in as president before Trump comes in? Very, very low. RZ The Legend, do you feel like Trump is over-promising? I wonder how much of what he talks about doing is practical or realistic. No, actually, I don't. I think that much of what he's talking about is realistic. It's just going to be a long slog getting it done. Curtis, do you think the Dems will steal the Pennsylvania recount? 30,000 votes down. I don't think they'll be successful, but it'll go to it'll be an endless litigation probably. Last beacon, and that also includes stop calling one half of the voting base cultists. Scott Steiner, if Trump appoints Brandon Herrera as ATF director, I will cry tears of joy. He would destroy all those illegal PDF and electronic databases, which even the rhinos have concerns over. I hope he does it. That'd be fun. By the way, I'm probably going to keep it a bit on the short side today because I've got so much other shit that I got to do. Editorial, Cop29 delegates facing challenges, including climate denier Trump. Yes, because Trump correctly points out that the world will not become Tatooine because people have gas-powered vehicles. I personally agree with his summation on that one. I'm hoping that they're facing challenges because the entire thing is a grift. If you're talking about real environmentalism, so getting like green up initiatives, working on science to reduce, the usage of landfills, reduce the amount of plastic, that's certainly a good idea. And many other things that you can do. Plant a fucking tree, grow a fucking garden, stuff like that is real environmentalism. The problem is most people don't engage in it because they don't want to put in the effort. Whereas if you're asking them for $10 or something so that you go plant a tree, they're more willing to do that. It's not real environmentalism when all you do is propose taxes and exchanging carbon credits and shit like that. It makes no sense at all. So I'm hoping that the I'm hoping that Cop29 effectively collapses ideologically and that Trump goes and trolls them or something like that. And then immediately withdraw from the Paris Climate Accords. They're bad for the economy and they don't do anything good for the environment in general. Last week in the third comment right below all the rest. I don't know what that refers to. Yeah, Cop29. Don Lemon's off X, so we can listen to him. You can listen to the video there. That's why I didn't archive this link. It's only 1 minute and 14 seconds long. It's Don Lemon explaining why he's decided to leave X, and basically it's just sour grapes. It's like, oh no, Elon stole the election. It's the same horseshit you're seeing from a lot of other people generally. But it's interesting because he notes other sites and services that he's going to be using, but at the same time, most of those sites are basically deserts. Nobody really uses them. Like I can't remember the ones that he mentions. He'll be on a couple of those alternative Twitter networks, and not the only one that ever had a significant organic audience, which is Gab. He's certainly not using Truth Social, that's for sure. So he's taking his toys and going home. The real reason, though, is Don Lemon has become effectively vestigial. Nobody pays attention to him. He's got a small and dwindling audience. Nobody really cares about Don Lemon. And so the problem for him is he's not going to gain any clout on Twitter because nobody wants to watch his shit anyway. If he goes to an echo chamber, though, where there's a lot less people, then he can say, well, 90% of the people on this very small site are watching my shit. Yeah, Blue Sky. Last beacon. Hey, you found my third comment. Yeah, so Don Lemon is gone. I mean, I don't really care. I don't have any problem with him being on a network. I mean, it means that I control him. And he mentions that. He's like, well, the trolls, you're making me sad. This is the internet, my dude. I get hate messages pretty much every day. People telling me to fuck myself and other things. People telling me that I'm wrong for one reason or another. And it's usually not constructive criticism. That's the internet, dude. I mean, if you got any audience at all, mine, I believe, is probably bigger than Don Lemon's at this point. I wouldn't be surprised at all. John Marafa. Tim Pool thinks Trump's contingency if Senate blocks Gaetz for AG, have DeSantis appoint him to Rubio's seat. It's always a possibility, and it'd be funny, too. Brock Sampson. I really don't like rabid pro-Israel Republicans in Trump's cabinet, namely Rubio and Stefanik. Hot. But I'd rather have America First candidates. Xander plays video games. Good morning. Do you think the salt from this election is of higher quality than the 2016 election? It's about the same, I'd say. Privateer V. Stick, send your CV to the Doge. You'll do great. Pilgrim Media. Will we see Dr. Fauci in the dock anytime? No, they're not going to do anything about him. Absolutely not. It would be funny if Don Lemon said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go crazy. And he does get on Gab. He'd probably get more of an audience there just from people hate talking him the whole time. It'd be funny. Let's get to our sponsors, shall we? Again, we're going to keep this episode a bit on the short side because I've got shit to do. Our sponsors, cultivated-mind.com, where you can get invigorating mushroom pills. Again, I take them every single morning, along with some other supplements that I will be talking about next week, actually. Another merch sponsor. Well, not merch sponsor, but a sponsor of the show. I take them every day. I use them interchangeably, like I sort of rotate. You do the brain squared, then the immune review, then the radiant energy. I figure it balances out, you know? We've got pumpkinfirecrafts.us, where you can get keychains, belt chains, glassware, engraved spoons, bookmarks, important for us bibliophiles, and much, much more. Lots of Ouroboros logos floating around over there. We've got BiltongUSA.com or AntonsUSA.com, where you can get delicious biltong from Anton's in Roanoke, Texas. I think he's also got a second location open now, if I remember correctly. You can also get Sticks, Hex, and Hammer tumblers, mugs, and shirts. We have wickedneedleembroidery.bigcartel.com, where you can get Sticks, Hex, and Hammer hats in several varieties and colors. Good quality. Otherwise, I wouldn't have several of them. Unfortunately, as usual, I forgot to have one in here. Sometimes I wear it. And so I've got hats all over the place. I misplace them all the time. It's a big problem. Heritage Heirloom Seed Company.com, where you can get a nice seed survival bucket. A good deal. You can grow these bad boys if you want. And then eat them. These should be good through Thanksgiving. So I wonder what's going to go in the bowl. You can also get Sticks, Hex, and Hammer soap available. Yes. Cedar, clove, blueberry, and another marjoram and lavender. We've got websterswares.com/sticks-wares. You can get metal spoons, and then, you won't dump plastic garbage in the ocean quite so much. So it's really good. I think they have a sale right now on Trump merchandise as well. They've got their Sticks, Hex, and Hammer beanies, a little homage to Tim Pool, blades, and much more. And finally, last but not least, jamandbean.com. That is JAMNbean.com, where you can get delicious Clank coffee. Yes, indeed. That's what I'm talking about. It smells delicious. I've got several bags of it. They won't last long. You can also get various teas from them. I really like the Healer tea and the Buccaneer tea. I think those two are the best ones so far that I've tried. Really, really nourishing and delicious. Getting more into supplements and teas and stuff like that. Last week, and also I can't really grow a beard. I mean, I could, but it comes in all patchy and gross. Yeah, mine comes in great, but then if you don't keep it trimmed over time, it gets more scraggly, and I just don't have enough fucking time usually. So I started trimming it, and then screw this. So I just shaved it off and figured, well, I'll look weird for a week. What to know about Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, led by Elon and Vivek Ramaswamy. Yes, this is basically a bitch piece about it. A lot of the spending that they can target is mandatory spending, as though you can't make it not mandatory. I think that's the point. And that a lot of the discretionary funding is actually military related. There is plenty of funding available to be cut. What you have to do if you're looking for waste and efficiency levels and stuff like that, look at the budget of an agency, a bureau, whatever it is, and say, okay, well, here are the things they're paying for. Okay, this is something that we need. That's something we don't need. This sub-department doesn't need to exist at all because it only reigns over stuff we want to cut. And then the advisory role of Doge would be effectively to advise Trump and other people within DC on this issue. One of the most potent things that could be done is something that's kind of sporadically done anyway by the legacy media, depending on which party is in power at the time, of course. And that's to look at things that the average person would think were a waste of money, like the famous one, shrimp on a treadmill and stuff like that. There's a lot of wasteful spending. Ultimately, I'd like to go much further and simply axe a few of these bureaus and compact the rest, and then you could save a shit ton more money, and you would make things much more streamlined. It's not lost on people how hilarious it is that only two people are going to be responsible for actually running the show over there and delegating work to people. I think it's a good idea overall. I don't think it will be an enormous success. Just saying, I'm not trying to black pill anyone, but I don't think you're going to see oh, we found $500 billion in wasteful spending. They'll pick away at some of the more shitty stuff, advise certain bureaus that need to be compacted or have their growth frozen. And if that's all that's accomplished, it's still a major accomplishment. Doing something that the uniparty Republicans always promise to do, but rarely actually do. Oh, by the way, I have a debate later. Actually, I've got to go to my messages here and see what time was that at again. Let me go and see. Lev messaged me. What time is it? Oh, come on. And of course, Twitter would do that thing where it won't open your messages right as I need to refer to one. Thanks, Twitter. Real cool. Last weekend, also, what I mean by cultists, I'm not speaking about the uniparty directly. I'm talking about those who have been fully indoctrinated in Reagan Buckley and can't seem to get out of that type of paradigm. And that includes both Trump and never Trump mindset and what's going to happen in the post-Trump world and who's going to come out of the political muck and mire. I think that you're still going to have a strong MAGA movement. If anything, when Trump is gone, it'll probably still keep growing because it's part of the current political paradigm. I don't think it's just a one-off with Trump being the standard bearer of a movement that dies the second that he's no longer in office, especially if his former VP happens to be the nominee, which is likely. And then finally, we've got a little bit of political redundancy here. You see, people are only allowed to have 2 terms as president of the United States. 2 full terms anyway. Now, you can get a 3rd term if you've finished out the term of your predecessor, I believe. But other than that, you can only have 2 full elected terms. The one example in U.S. history where this didn't happen was FDR. He got a 4th term, died actually, in office. And then Congress acted and said, okay, we can't have somebody running the show for 4 more terms ever again. We're going to limit it to 2. Dan Goldman, though, didn't get the memo about the Constitution existing. Not terribly surprising since he's a Democrat, of course. And so he's introduced a resolution specifically stating that Donald Trump cannot serve a 3rd term as president. But the thing is, he already can't serve a 3rd term as president. So this is posturing. This is an example of inefficiency in government. At least this isn't affecting any budgets other than the paper you have to triplicate type up the resolution on. The resolution might have a hard time coming to a vote because Republicans control the House. But he could, NBC News reported, introduce it as a privileged resolution that would require a vote. Go ahead. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it passes or not because it's a solution waiting for an actual problem to solve. Texan Patrick P. We need forced gun give back. All non-military unelected agencies and officials should have to give the weapons back to the taxpayers who footed the bill for them in the first place. Yeah, disarming some of the federal agencies would be a nice idea. Especially, I mean, if someone running an agency or a politician is always coming out and attacking the Second Amendment, why should we think that they're competent to own a firearm? Deplorable Pirate Captain Gunbeard, Brandon Herrera for ATF Director. Yeah, several people echoing that sentiment. He needs some milk. By the way, I'm going to buy milk later. Good, I already wrote it on my grocery list. Don assaulted a dude with my smegma lemon. Pilgrim Media, microdosing blue shrooms and lion's mane. Good stuff. Yeah, there's lion's mane in, which one is it? There's lion's mane in the brain squared one. Das Lowell Tractor. I stopped trying to grow a beard. Judge said the 3rd time carries a minimum sentence. Ubermensch. Hey, Sticks, please cover the Daniel Penny trial. They're sacrificing him to the woke mob. He needs our help. Yeah, I made a video supporting him, actually. It's a retarded case. I'll have to keep up with it. I'll probably make another video on the topic soon. The Kiefer. Hey, Sticks, what's your opinion on the Pennsylvania Senate seat shenanigans? Do you think McCormick will win it in the end? Yeah, I think that it's already been called, so it'd be very difficult for them to go back on that. Let's see. Just as ends, of course, the messages are still not loading. Let me try to do, sometimes you can do a trick where you press new message, and then you wait a second, and sometimes it'll load. There's not a whole lot else you can do, though. It has the same problem on my phone. Yeah, it's not going to fucking load. Anyway, I believe it is at 2 o'clock that I go on with Liv. Oh, actually, he may have publicly posted. Let me see really quickly if he's made a public post. God, they're doing so much work over there on the path. Lev, did you make a public post? I think it was a 2. Oh, wait. Oh, no, that's a different one. That's with Jason Giorgiani and Vlad Davidson. Jesus. Infinite work. Where's the post for the one that I'm on? Or did you not post it? Or yeah, it was scheduled for 2 p.m. on Tuesday, so I'm assuming it's still at 2 p.m. I had to bounce that one because I forgot I had other things that I had to do. Whoops. That's happened several times lately. It happened with iHypocrite as well. My schedule is a hot mess at the moment. Yeah, the messages aren't going to load. Fuck it. Christian McCracken. They told us Trump was... Oh, I guess they were just turning around in the... Never mind. They told us Trump was every type of bigot, Hitler, rapist, felon, etc., and we still voted for him. So why do they think Gaetz is controversial? Because they fear him too. They don't want any more Trump MAGA loyalists in Congress. The Dashing Rogue, as for the debate later, tell the Yuga derangement syndrome sufferer to knock off the plot railroading. People like him drag us all to hell. The Sumerian, poor Carrie Lake. Yeah, I want her to be White House press secretary. Queen O Biltong. Good morning from Anton's. Consider Biltong for your healthy alternative snack for all gatherings via BiltongUSA.com. Remember our stream today, Eat at Anton's on Rumble and YouTube, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. It's the feds, run sticks. No, they're building a path up to the rec center, it literally goes by the side of our property on the other end over there near the woodlot. And so they've got like 5 pickup trucks out there and everything else, and they've got construction equipment. And it looks like there's a different group that's doing something with the house that's next to it, which I don't know if anyone's even living there right now, but it looks like they're getting ready to demolish the house. I don't know. The people who live there, they only moved in a couple of years ago when the Drinwaters left. So I don't know. Maybe they decided to revamp the whole thing. Texan Patrick P. It shows noon MST for me on his channel. Break the rules. Oh, it's scheduled for noon? Huh. Okay. Well, then that definitely means that I need to go offline early. So I will jump over there. Hopefully my messages will work and I'll figure it out. I will grab the link to it and everything else. If you happen to be watching or if someone can message him, my DMs right now are not working, but I've got to quickly run out and do something. If it's at noon, I'll do that, and then I'll do the rest of what I have to do afterwards, I guess. So, yeah, just a little bit of it's a slow news day anyway, other than the Gaetz shit, so it doesn't really matter. So, I will be on another live stream. I don't know whether at noon or 2 p.m. I don't know. Thanks, Twitter. That's about all. Peace out.